In life there are moments that feel like coincidences, but deep down we know they are not. They are divine interventions carefully orchestrated by a higher power. The moment you are experiencing now is no accident. You were led here not by the randomness of the universe, but by a divine design that's been in motion long before you were even aware of it. This is a call, a reminder, a holy nudge in your spirit that you cannot ignore. It's a divine invitation to step into the purpose that has always been waiting for you, a purpose that has been carefully crafted by the Creator of the universe. As you listen to this message, you may feel a stirring in your heart, a sense that something greater is on the horizon. You might feel a quiet tug on your soul, an inexplicable sense of urgency. That is not coincidence. That is the Holy Spirit awakening something deep within you, reminding you that you were never meant to blend in. You were not created to shrink back, to live in fear, or to let the circumstances of life define you. You were chosen, called, and destined to rise. This is not just another message you can scroll past or forget in a few minutes. This is a divine moment, a call from heaven itself, urging you to recognize the magnitude of what is unfolding in your life. The battles you've faced, the tears every single moment has been seen, recorded, and honored by the Creator. Heaven has been watching over you, even when it felt like you were walking alone. The path you've walked has been preparing you for something far greater than what you can imagine. Even the darkest seasons, the painful betrayals, and the moments of doubt have been shaping you into the person you were always meant to be. Just like gold is refined in fire, your spirit has been refined through the trials you've endured. And now the time has come. The window of opportunities, the doors that once seemed closed, are about to swing wide open, but only if you are willing to rise and step forward. Don't let this moment pass you by. This is the moment when everything you've been through, every prayer, every tear, every heartache, will begin to make sense. Your breakthrough is near, but it requires you to act in faith, to trust the voice of God speaking directly into your life. As you read these words or listen to this message, let your heart be stirred. This is your moment. The Most High is calling you. Will you answer? They were part of a greater plan that was set in motion before you were even born. The truth is, you were chosen, not by chance, not by coincidence, but by divine design. Before the foundations of the earth were laid, God knew you would exist, and He knew this exact moment would come. He has been guiding you all along, even when you couldn't see His hand in your life. Your struggles were not in vain. The battles you've fought have been preparing you for something greater. It may feel as if you've been walking through a season of uncertainty or hardship, but in reality, this period of your life has been one of deep preparation. Heaven has been watching over you, and every tear you've shed, every moment of pain, and every quiet prayer you've prayed have been noted by the Creator. You may have felt abandoned at times, thinking no one saw your struggles or understood your heartache. But the truth is, God saw it all. He was there in the quiet moments when you were too tired to continue, when you felt broken beyond repair, and when you thought you could not go on. He was there, and He was preparing you for the calling that is about to be revealed. The stirring you feel in your spirit right now, the tug that seems to be awakening something deep within you, is no accident. It is the whole. You were not meant to shrink back in fear or blend in with the crowd. You were chosen for this time, this moment, and this purpose. God has set you apart, and there is something uniquely significant about your life and your story. You are not just one among many. God has a specific plan for you, a plan that was established long before you took your first breath. This is the moment when everything you've gone through, the pain, the heartbreak, the confusion, begins to make sense. It was all part of God's divine plan. Even when you didn't understand why things were happening, heaven was moving. The Holy Spirit was working behind the scenes, orchestrating every step, every delay, and every detour. The battles you've faced were never meant to break you, but to shape you, refine you, and build the strength you now carry. You are stronger than you realize because of what you've overcome. The time has come for you to embrace your calling. Heaven is leaning in, and your name has been called. The question now is, will you answer? Will you rise to meet the calling that God has prepared for you? Your story is not one of survival. It is one of destiny, of being chosen for a higher purpose. You were created for more than just existing. You were created to make a difference, to rise and to walk in the fullness of the calling that is uniquely yours. You are not just an accident in this world. You are a chosen one, marked by God, set apart for His divine purpose. And now as heaven calls you to rise, will you answer the call with boldness and faith? Will you step into the divine destiny that has been waiting for you all along? This is your time. One of the most profound truths about the Christian walk is that pain and purpose often go hand in hand. It's easy to look at moments of suffering, betrayal, rejection, loneliness, and question why such things happen. It's natural to wonder if these painful seasons have any meaning or value. But here's every hardship you've faced, every tear you've shed, and every wound you've carried has been part of a divine preparation process that is shaping you into the person you are called to be. The moments when you felt abandoned, when your heart was broken, or when you questioned your very existence were not wasted. These experiences were never meant to defeat you but to refine you. The Most High has been working through your pain, using it as a tool to develop the character strength and resilience that are essential for your divine calling. Just as gold is refined in fire, your spirit has been forged in the heat of your struggle. Consider the story of Joseph in the Bible. Joseph's brothers betrayed him, sold him into slavery, and left him to rot in a prison cell. Yet none of these events were in vain. God used Joseph's pain, his rejection, and his seemingly impossible circumstances to mold him into a leader who would later save nations. The betrayal Joseph experienced became the doorway to his divine promotion. What looked like an end to his story was actually the beginning of a greater purpose. In the same way, God is using your pain to prepare you for something much greater than you can imagine. Every wound you've carried, whether it was inflicted by those who should have protected you or caused by the weight of loneliness, is part of your story of restoration and redemption. The world might have seen those moments as weaknesses, but heaven recorded them as acts of worship. What others overlooked, God has honored. He was there even when you couldn't see Him. Every silent prayer, every tear that fell when no one was around to comfort you, was held by the Creator. And in those moments of deepest despair, God was building the strength you need to rise. The isolation you felt during your hardest seasons wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to prepare you to stand strong, to stand in the power of God's calling, and to understand the weight of His glory. Just like Joseph, the painful chapters of your life have been preparing you for the moment when God will reveal your purpose. The rejection, the silence, the betrayal, it has all been leading you to this moment. It has all been working together for your good. So if you are walking through a painful season now, or if you have walked through one in the past, know this: it wasn't for nothing. God is working all things together for your good. The pain you've endured is not the end of your story, it's the preparation for what's to come. Embrace your pain, knowing that it is refining you for a divine purpose. You were never meant to shrink back or remain broken. You were meant to rise stronger and more resilient, ready to walk in the fullness of God's calling for your life. One of the most challenging aspects of walking in faith is trusting in God's timing. It's easy to become frustrated when things don't happen the way we expect or in the timeline we imagine. We often look around and see others moving forward in life, experiencing success and receiving blessings, while we remain in a season of waiting. But what if I told you that your waiting is not wasted? That the delays, the closed doors, and the seasons of silence are actually a part of God's divine plan for you? God operates in perfect timing. He is never early, and He is always on time, and His timing is far greater than any human understanding. Often, the delay we experience is not rejection but rather divine redirection. The doors that seem to close in our faces are not signs that we've been forgotten, but that God has something even better in store for us. His timing ensures that when blessings arrive, we are fully prepared to receive them, not prematurely or with hesitation, but with a heart ready to walk into our purpose. Think about the story of Joseph again. He was sold into slavery by his brothers and later thrown into prison, and yet God's plan for him was never thwarted. God was preparing Joseph, molding him, teaching him lessons that would be crucial for the leadership he was about to step into. Every delay was divine training. Every setback was positioning him for something greater. When the time was right, Joseph rose to a place of authority and influence that allowed him to fulfill his purpose and save many lives. In your life, you may have experienced or are currently experiencing moments where it feels like everything is at a standstill. Maybe you've faced rejection in areas you felt certain about, or you've wondered why opportunities that seemed so promising ended in disappointment. Know this: God is working behind the scenes. He is setting things in motion, rearranging circumstances and aligning people and opportunities in such a way that when the doors finally open, you will be ready. The delays you've faced were not designed to hurt you, but to build you. They were to refine your character, develop your faith, and strengthen your patience. The key to stepping into divine timing is learning to trust. Trust that God knows exactly when the time is right for you. Trust that He is not slow in fulfilling His promises, but is working in ways you cannot see. And trust that when the doors finally open, they will be opened wide and no one can shut them. When the timing is right, nothing can prevent what God has prepared for you. Your breakthrough, your promotion, your divine calling is closer than you think. The season of waiting is almost over. It's important to remember that divine timing is never about our comfort or convenience, it's about our preparation. So as you wait, trust the process. Keep walking in faith even if you can't see the whole picture. The moment you've been waiting for is coming, and it will come in God's perfect timing. Don't rush ahead. Instead, rest in His faithfulness and embrace the journey. What God has for you is worth. It's easy to desire instant change, to want to skip over the hard lessons and challenges, but the truth is, the most profound transformations happen in the most difficult seasons of life. God is not only interested in where you are going, He is deeply invested in who you are becoming along the way. Your spiritual maturity is the foundation upon which your destiny will be built. Just as a tree's roots grow deeper in the soil to sustain its growth, your roots in God are deepened through challenges, waiting, and refining. Spiritual maturity is not about acquiring knowledge alone. It's about allowing God to shape your heart and your character. You may not always understand why things are happening the way they are, but trust that God is using every moment, every hardship, and every challenge to build something stronger and more enduring in you. This transformation isn't something that happens overnight. It's a process, often slow and unseen, that takes place in the quiet, in the hidden places where no one else is watching. It's in the moments when you are stretched beyond your limits, when you are facing trials that seem unfair or unjust, that God is working most powerfully within you. Just like the potter shapes the clay, God is molding you into the vessel He has always intended you to be, one that can carry the weight of His glory. Spiritual maturity requires humility, the willingness to submit to God's will, and to trust His plan, even when it doesn't make sense. It requires perseverance to keep moving forward when everything around you is telling you to give up. It involves learning to listen for God's voice in the quiet, to discern His will in the midst of confusion and noise. These moments of spiritual growth often happen in the silent spaces of life, when we are tempted to question our faith, but it's in these moments that our trust in God is strengthened and refined. The transformation you are undergoing right now is necessary. It's not punishment or coincidence, but divine. You are not the same person you were when you started this journey, and with each day that passes, you are becoming more of the person God has designed you to be. The pain, the waiting, the testing, it's all shaping you into someone who can carry the blessings and responsibilities that are about to be entrusted to you. Think about the life of Moses. Before he led the Israelites out of Egypt, he spent years in the wilderness, years of waiting, of being hidden, of learning to trust God in the silence. The wilderness was not a place of punishment, but a place of preparation. God used those years to refine Moses, to teach him humility, patience, and obedience. They are the training ground where God is teaching you lessons that will empower you for the calling ahead. This transformation also requires a shift in your identity. You are no longer who you were. The old version of you, the one defined by fear, insecurity, and past mistakes, is fading away. In its place, a new you is rising, one who is confident in God's love and purpose. This new version of you moves with greater clarity, greater purpose, and greater obedience to God's calling. The process may feel painful at times, but the growth you are experiencing will produce lasting fruit that will impact not only your life, but the lives of those. They are preparing you for a life that reflects God's glory and power. You are being transformed into a vessel fit for His purposes, one that will stand firm in the storms, carry His light into dark places, and lead others into the freedom you've found. Trust that the work God is doing in you right now will not only equip you for your calling, but it will also impact generations to come. The transformation is deep, lasting, and powerful, and it is a necessary part of your journey to fulfill your divine purpose. As you step into the fullness of your calling, one of the most crucial aspects of your journey will be obedience. Obedience to God is not just about following rules or doing what feels right in the moment. It's about trusting that God knows what's best for you and responding with action even when it's difficult or unclear. When God speaks to you, it's not enough to simply hear His voice. You must act upon it. That act of faith, of moving in obedience, is what brings your breakthrough into manifestation. Faith and obedience are inseparable. As James 2:17 reminds us, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. It's one thing to believe in God's promises, but it's another to live in alignment with them. Obedience is the key. When you trust God enough to step forward in faith, even when you don't have all the answers, you position yourself for God to move in powerful ways in your life. Obedience is also a posture of readiness, being prepared to move when God calls you to take action. Sometimes, the miracle comes after you've taken the first step, not before. Think of the Israelites, standing at the edge of the Jordan River. God had promised them the promised land, but they had to take the first step into the river before it parted. They couldn't wait for the waters to recede before stepping out. They had to trust that as they moved in faith, God would provide the way. Similarly, you may be standing at the edge of your own promised land, but it is only through your obedience, your willingness to take that first step, that the floodgates of God's blessings will begin to open. In addition to obedience, you are called to live with a heart full of expectation. Expectation is a key ingredient to living in the fullness of God's promises. It's not enough to believe that something good is coming, you must expect it. Expectation is the confident hope that what God has spoken will come to pass, even when there is no visible evidence yet. It's about living with the assurance that God's promises are true. This is the kind of faith that doesn't shrink back, but instead eagerly anticipates the good things that God has in store. God is moving behind the scenes even when you can't see it. The breakthroughs, the blessings, and the opportunities you've been praying for are closer than you think. But to step into them, you must be ready not only in action, but in your heart. Your heart must be aligned with what God is doing, full of trust, obedience, and an unwavering belief that God is faithful. When you live with expectation, you begin to see with new eyes. You start to notice the small signs of God's presence, the subtle nudges, the doors that unexpectedly open, the conversations that spark something within your spirit. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations that God is at work. Expectancy also means aligning your thoughts, words, and actions with God's promises. Begin to speak life over your situation, declaring the truths of Scripture over your circumstances. Instead of focusing on what seems impossible, focus on what God has already promised. His word is true, and He is faithful to fulfill every promise He has made. As you walk in obedience and expectation, remember that this is not a passive waiting. It's an active stance of faith where you choose to walk forward in trust with your eyes fixed on God's promises, knowing that He is working all things together for your. It's about actively participating in the unfolding of God's plan for your life. Living in obedience and expectation means you are always moving forward, no matter how slow the pace or how uncertain the path may seem. The key is to keep walking, keep trusting, and keep believing that God is faithful. You are not waiting for breakthrough to begin. It has already started. And with every step of obedience, you will see more of God's promises come to life in your world. Now more than ever, it is time for you to rise, step forward, and live with the expectation that God is about to move in ways you've never seen before. Your moment is here. As we reflect on the message shared throughout these sections, it's important to pause and fully grasp the gravity of what has been revealed to us. You are chosen. Your life has been designed with a purpose far beyond what you may currently see. And though the path has been full of challenges, heartaches, and uncertainties, every step has been leading you to this very moment. This moment of awakening, this divine nudge in your spirit, this call to step boldly into your God-given destiny. The beauty of the Christian journey lies not in the destination alone, but in the process, the refining, the transforming, the surrendering, and the obedience. It is a journey of becoming, a journey of growing, and a journey of embracing the calling that God has placed upon your life. This process may feel long at times. It may feel frustrating. It may feel lonely, especially when it seems like others are advancing and you are stuck in the waiting. But rest assured, it is in the waiting, the wilderness, and the unseen places that God is working most powerfully in your life. He is molding you, shaping you, and preparing you for the calling that He has set before you. Every trial, every moment of pain, every time you felt overlooked or abandoned, it has all been part of His divine orchestration. If you have ever felt unworthy or inadequate for the life you know, God is calling you to take heart. You are exactly who God needs in this moment. You are the one He has been preparing. The enemy may have tried to convince you otherwise, planting seeds of doubt, shame, and insecurity. But none of these lies are true. You are not defined by your past mistakes, by what others have said about you, or by the battles you have fought alone. You are defined by the Creator, the one who has known you before the foundation of the world and has set you apart for a divine purpose. The Holy Spirit is stirring something within you, awakening a desire to rise above the ordinary and step into the fullness of your calling. There is no more time for hesitation or shrinking back. The time is now. God is calling you to rise with boldness and confidence, knowing that He has equipped you for everything He has placed before you. The path may not always be clear, but the truth is you don't need to see the entire journey to take the first step. Trust that each step you take in obedience will be met with the provision, wisdom, and strength needed to keep moving forward. You have everything within you, by the grace of God, to fulfill your purpose. One of the most significant truths we must internalize in our spiritual journey is the understanding of divine timing. There is no mistake, no delay, and no unanswered prayer that is not part of His master plan for your life. In moments of impatience or frustration, we must remember that God's timing does not always align with our own. His understanding is far beyond ours, and He sees the bigger picture. Just as Joseph spent years in slavery and prison, only to be raised to a position of power and influence at the appointed time, so too your seasons of waiting and testing are not wasted. They are a preparation ground. In your moments of delay, remember that God is doing a deep work in you. He is refining your character. Trust in His timing even when it doesn't make sense. Sometimes the very thing we think is a setback is in fact a divine redirection that leads us to something greater. So do not become discouraged in the waiting. Instead, remain faithful and expectant. When the time is right, you will see the doors of opportunity swing wide open, and everything you have been waiting for will come to pass in ways that surpass your expectations. God's work in your life is a continual process. You are not the same person you were when you started this journey. Every challenge, every struggle, and every victory has been shaping you into the person you were always meant to become. This transformation is not always easy. It is not instantaneous. It requires surrender, obedience, and trust. But it is through this process that God refines us, strengthens our faith, and deepens our relationship with Him. Just as gold is refined in the fire, your character and faith are being refined through trials. Every difficult season you have faced, every heartbreak, every moment of doubt, and every rejection has been part of the shaping process. You are emerging stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The transformation you are experiencing is not just for you, it is for the generations that will come after you. God is shaping you into a vessel that can carry His glory, a vessel that can walk in authority, and a vessel that can be. As you grow in spiritual maturity, you will find yourself becoming more attuned to the voice of God, more sensitive to His leading, and more confident in His promises. You will begin to see with new eyes and understand that every part of your journey, both the highs and the lows, has had purpose. It has all been part of God's divine plan to bring you to this moment of breakthrough, to prepare you to walk in the fullness of your calling, and to equip you to fulfill the destiny He has ordained for you. Obedience is the pathway to breakthrough. God has a purpose for your life, but you must be willing to walk in obedience to His will. Obedience is not about following rules. It is about aligning your life with God's heart and trusting that His way is always the best way. When you walk in obedience, you are positioning yourself to receive the fullness of God's promises. You may not always understand why God is leading you in a particular direction, but as you walk in faith and obedience, He will lead you exactly where you need to be. Living in expectation is also crucial. Expectation is the confident hope that what God has promised will come to pass. It is the belief that He is faithful to fulfill every word He has spoken over your life. Expect doors to open, blessings to pour out, and opportunities to arise. Expect His provision to come when you need it most. Expect His healing to touch every area of your life. Expect divine connections, favor, and breakthroughs. When you live in expectation, you become a magnet for God's promises. You begin to see His hand at work in every situation, and you learn to recognize the subtle signs that He is moving. This journey is not just about you. The breakthrough you are walking into is not just for you. It is for your family, your community, and the world around you. As you step into your calling, remember that you are laying the foundation for future generations. The faith, perseverance, and obedience you exhibit today will pave the way for those who come after you. Just as God used the faith of your ancestors to bless you, He is now using your faith to bring blessings to those who will follow. This is the power of generational impact. The legacy you are building will echo through the years, impacting lives long after you are gone. This is your moment. The call has gone out and heaven is waiting. It is time to rise from the ashes of your past, struggles to step out of the shadows of doubt and fear, and to embrace the greatness that God has placed inside of you. You are chosen for this time. You were not made to blend in or shrink back. You were made to rise, to lead, and to walk in the authority that God has given you. No more hesitations, no more doubts. The season of waiting is over, and the season of walking in your divine calling has begun. The breakthrough you've been waiting for is here, and it is not just a moment, it is a lifestyle. It is a way of living that reflects heaven's glory, a life that is fully aligned with God's purpose. You are stepping into a new rhythm, a new dimension of grace, and a new season of fulfillment. So rise up, choose one. Step into the fullness of what God has for you. Live with boldness, walk with purpose, and embrace the transformation that is happening within you. You were never meant to just survive. You were meant to thrive, to shine, and to carry the light of God into every area of your life. This is just the beginning of what God is going to do through you. The best is yet to come.